Hello. Sorry, it's been about a month since my last video. I've been insanely busy with work, and I'm also directing a show for my local little theater, and that's been eating up most of my time. Plus, I haven't really opened anything lately that I felt was particularly warranting a video review until I opened this little guy. So this is the new Deluxe Savage Opress from Star Wars The Clone Wars. This guy I think is retailing around $35-ish. I happen to get mine through GameStop, and since I'm a pro member, I got to use my little $5 off coupon, so that knocked it down a little bit and a little bit more reasonable. So, first impressions, looks quite good. They've gone for the more realism look, of course. They don't really lean into the style of the animated series, but it still looks quite good. As usual, we'll go over his couple of accessories and the figure itself. I know usually I start off with it in the box, but this isn't one I had intended to review to begin with, so I already cracked it open, obviously, and it won't go back into it properly, and this box is going to go on the burn pile anyway. But anyway, that's the box. That's what it looks like. Alrighty, Savage comes with two accessories. This being a first one of them, whatever. A polearm, spear, poleaxe, whatever the heck you want to call it, sci-fi fantasy weapon. It's quite nice. I'm sure it had a technical name in the show that I don't remember because I haven't watched the Clone Wars with the episodes with Savage Opress in them for about a year or so. I was impressed with the character enough that, hey, I remembered him and bought the figure, so... Still, very nicely done weapon, nice detail. That's the pommel there, if you're at all interested in what that looks like. Very nice weapon. Of course, his double-bladed lightsaber. And trying to get an all view of it. Very nice. Doesn't split apart the metal like Maul's tends to do, but of course you can take the blades out so you can have just the hilt by itself, if you so chose. Okay, I got Savage back in a somewhat neutral position so I can measure him. Alright. Just a hair. If you don't count the spikes, he's just a hair at under 7 inches there, so like 7 7/8. 6 7/8, sorry. Make fun of me later. Anyway, now I'm going to show you one of the main reasons I decided to make this, because of a rather a controversial figure that's coming out later from Hasbro, and being as this is a Hasbro figure, found it interesting that this one's releasing slightly before that one. You may know which one I'm talking about. Thank you, Set, for falling apart on me. Okay. Double ball peg. Double ball peg. Up there, and in the neck. Now, is this the greatest double ball peg they've ever done, or anyone's ever done? Not really. It could have been a lot better. Looks up about that much. Side to side. About that much. I cannot get this neck to line up and stay lined up with the chest there. Now it's going to do it because I'm filming it, because it wants to make me look like a jackass. Anyway, let's see. So that was the head and neck on double ball pegs. Then we've got these shoulder pads, which are on a floating piece within the shoulder joint itself, so they can get out of the way fairly easily. Butterfly joint, of course, so goes about that far back, that far forward. Shoulder itself goes up about 90, as usual with Hasbro. Goes down pretty much all the way, so I'm not going to fault it there. We have, or do we have? Oh, no, we don't. We do not have a bicep swivel. I thought it did. My mistake. Should be able to turn all the way around, but that's getting in the way a little bit. Typical Black Series single-jointed elbows that go in ever so slightly better than 90. Of course, rotates there. Another interesting thing, which is unusual for Hasbro, ball pegs and the wrists. Yeah, that's a ball peg. Also, he doesn't come with the alternate hands. The hands here are the only hands he comes with. So he can't be punching anybody, really. He's only going to be gripping things. I thought that was interesting, considering we normally just get hinges here. And let's see. We can go back about yay far. Move out of the way. It's not bad for Hasbro. Not much forward, but it's there. Side to side. With dual combo of that and that. You can do that much of the splits. Do you have a thigh cut? No thigh swivel there either. Single jointed knees that only go up that far, so not great range there, but they do rotate. For whatever reason, he has a boot swivel. It's a really high boot swivel, but it does work and doesn't look terrible on both boots. Not particularly loose on either one. For the feet, it's about as far up as it goes. Goes down really far, and beautiful little ankle rocker. So all in all, this Savage Opress, I really like it. I think it's funny that he has some built-in articulation on him that isn't going to be available on a certain figure that Hasbro is also making that's coming out later this month. I'll just pass over that one for now. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Hopefully you'll find it interesting too. Good job, Savage. Way to go out, falling flat on your face. Anyway, overall, real nice figure. Happy to add it to the collection. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, I suppose give it a thumbs down if you're a mean person. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.